Hey guys, this is Moller from Moller Smokers, and on today's episode, we're gonna keep building the Tanker 1000, and we're gonna talk about why I designed the smokers the way I do. Welcome to Building Smokers in Europe, a series where I take you with me on the journey of building my brand, Moller Smokers, from the ground up. Step behind the scenes as I design, build, and refine the most authentic Texas-style barbecue pits in Europe. This is my daily life at the shop, unfiltered. Alright guys, on the last week's episode, we started building this Tanker 1000, 264 gallons for the Appalachian barbecue joint in Germany. And we pretty much finished all the body work. I've done a couple more things. I finished the grades and I've done the stack. And now I'm about to start working on the Firebox. The Firebox assembled and I'm halfway into welding it, but I've ran out of wire, so now I gotta change it. Alright, the Firebox fully welded. Let's clean it up. Well, I've had a gut feeling and I've decided to offset the Firebox. Not like a traditional mount, but make it almost flush with the bottom. Because my thought is that inside the Firebox, the heat is already rising, so I wanted to hit the deflector more in the center than the upper part. That way I might get even better turbulence. I want to give you a little bit of an insight into how offsets actually work and why I do my pits different than most builders out there. So the first thing we need to understand is the difference between laminar flow, which is when the air travels straight, and turbulent flow, which is when it spins around and moves in different directions. So laminar flow is obviously more efficient because the travel path is less, but it gives a lot of problems. It cooks uneven, it dries out stuff, and it burns the edges of the meat. So we solve that creating turbulence. That's when a pit cooks great is because of turbulence. So the more turbulence a smoker has is usually for the better. In the traditional open design, where you have a firebox, an open throat, and a stack, what usually happens is air comes in through the door and smoke travels diagonally in a laminar manner until it hits the top of the smoker. Then it breaks up and creates turbulence until it eventually gets pulled to the stack and becomes laminar again. So the problem with that is that you lose the first 25 to 30% of the smoker. That's why all these restaurants have to rotate meat around, maybe don't put briskets on this first door, and all these sorts of problems that people have been trying to fix in different ways. Some pits have less laminar flow, some pits have more. It's basically the mystery of why a pit cooks better than another one. This is why I fell in love with Murillo's design of True Bone Barbecue, because the way it's set up in a straight line with that convex deflector on the throat breaks up the laminar flow immediately, so you get turbulent flow from this end to this end. And it actually works. I dialed it in on a Tanker 500 and you saw the test. I got even results, top to bottom, side to side. Because instead of waiting for the flow to hit the top to create the turbulence, we're creating it right here at the throat. So the whole smoker cooks like the middle section of a traditional one. This creates an extremely even cooking environment. So you don't have to rotate, you don't have lost gray space, and it cooks so gentle that I believe you can cook pretty hotter than what you would on a regular pit. I'm still trying to make it better. So right now I've lowered the Firebox again to get it in line with the chamber. Helps me get a little bit more draft and also hit the deflector more in the center, because inside the Firebox heat is already rising. So this way I believe airflow will be more in the center and create better turbulence and also get a little bit more pull from the stack. Well, yesterday I forgot to record, but here we have the Firebox fully welded. I'm doing the door now. Well, the door is actually done. I'm just welding it in place. And it's looking really good, honestly. I really like this slight offset that I did. I finished the door. This hinge came out really well. Has no sagging whatsoever. I changed the latch. I like this design better for this style of door. And I went back to steel for all the handles because, I don't know, it just feels better than the aluminum. Sometimes you overcomplicate things. Same thing for the doors. And this Tanker 1000 is done. Only thing there's left to do is put it on some wheels. That's it for today, folks. On the next episode, we're gonna put this bad boy on a big off-road kit and do a bunch of testing with it. You know the drill. If you like this kind of content, leave a comment, subscribe, and ask any questions you want. I'll see you on the next one.